Hello. In this guidance, I wanted to look at some of the motherhood myths there are out there. And they're very prevalent in our society, and you might not even notice that you think them yourself, but sometimes it can be really useful to have them pointed out, because actually knowing that they're there allows you to take a bit of space to have a think about whether or not you really believe them or not, and why you believe them. And some of the myths that we've already touched on already are to do with pregnancy and giving birth. So it's that you will feel joy throughout your pregnancy, which for many women is completely not true. One of the other myths is that there is a right way to give birth, and that is without interventions, and actually that can be held up as a bit of a holy grail, and so a lot of mums can feel as though they're a failure if they don't actually manage to achieve that. But actually the norm for most people isn't that how things work. One of the other myths that mothers experience is that you will bond with your baby immediately after birth. You will experience this rush of love, and you will feel utterly connected and like nothing you've ever felt before. And in a third of cases, this isn't true. The NCT has done research that shows that isn't true for sort of 30% of women. And so, yeah, actually sometimes for people bonding can take a bit longer. But if you don't know that, sometimes it can make it feel as though there's something wrong with you. Another myth of motherhood is that breastfeeding is easy. Apparently 97% of women struggle with breastfeeding in the first 3 days. And it can be really off-putting. It can make people feel as though they're getting something wrong, rather than realising that actually breastfeeding is a skill to be learned. And if you don't have the right support, and if you don't have the right teachers around you, then actually you might really struggle to learn that skill. It might not be something that happens. So those are a few of the motherhood myths that hopefully we've touched on already. But another one that I want to bring up is the motherhood myth that a healthy baby is all that matters. For a lot of women, their births can be very traumatic, and actually how they feel about their birth can be really upsetting and distressing. And that can have an impact on you during the early months, and sometimes for other people, if they don't get support, that can carry on for a lot longer. So actually, if you have experienced a birth that you feel upset or angry, or you're still being affected by in a negative way, then I would definitely urge you to get some support, because your baby's well-being isn't the only thing that matters. This is a relationship, and they need you to be on sort of good form as well. So definitely get some support if that's the case for you. Another myth that I would like to bring up is that your instinct will tell you what to do in every situation, that you will always know what to do. This is a massive myth. Motherhood is a job like any other, and it's something that is learned. And you have an instinct to protect your baby, you have an instinct to want to make sure that they are looked after, absolutely. But sometimes this instinct can get thwarted by all the reams and reams of advice that is shoved at new parents, basically, however well intentioned. And so it can be sometimes really difficult to actually even tune into what your instinct is to actually even really figure out what you think on a certain subject, what you want to sort of do about a certain issue. So I think that it can be really unhelpful hearing that you'll know how to trust your instinct, because actually for some people that isn't how it feels at all, and that can be a source of distress if they're told that they should have this instinct. So yeah, I would urge you to treat that one with a bit of caution. Another myth that I would like to dispel is that if you don't love every moment of being a mum, that there is something wrong with you. This is not true. No mother loves every moment of being a mum. In fact, some mothers have thoughts that they find really distressing at times, and it can be really distressing if at times you experience thoughts that you don't want to have. However, this doesn't mean you're going to act on them. In fact, the fact that you find them distressing means that you're highly unlikely to act on them. And every mother has these thoughts and feelings. If you're having so many of these thoughts and feelings that it's causing you distress, then that is when it's time to go and speak to a health professional, because it might be that there is some therapy or some medication that can help you to experience these thoughts and feelings less. But the reality is that most mums will experience times when they really, really wish their baby would shut up, or they really wish their baby would go away, or they would really wish their baby didn't exist right then. And they wonder what they've done, whether they've made a massive mistake, whether they are really cut out to be a mother. These feelings are really normal, and having them does not make you a bad mum. And this ties in with another point that I would like to make, another myth of motherhood, which is that a good mum would want to spend every minute of the day with her baby. This is absolutely not true. And if you look at sort of motherhood cultures in other countries, actually mothers have a lot more support around them, and that enables them to take breaks from their babies in ways that maybe seem more socially acceptable. But yes, mothers need to have breaks from their babies. It's like any other relationship. It's for most people, spending one-on-one time with one person all the time is too intense, it's too much. And so actually you will need to take breaks from your babies at certain times, obviously in a way that's appropriate to your baby's needs and appropriate to your needs. But yes, wanting to spend time away from your baby at times does not make you a bad mother in any way, shape or form. And another myth that I think is really prevalent, especially in our Western culture, is that you should be able to do everything as a mother without any help. Now, this is categorically untrue. It really is. We are maybe able to do that before we have babies, but actually the amount of care that a baby needs is more than one, possibly even two people can manage for a sustained period of time anyway. If you think about sort of the lack of sleep, the constant interruptibility, the lack of ability to look after yourself, that's not sustainable for a long period of time. So actually no one is able to do that, and if they are doing it, then I would worry about what else is being left out, whether or not they're able to look after themselves properly, and what the physical and emotional impact of that is on them. And another motherhood myth that I think is really, really important, and it's something that might stop you from getting care, is the myth that if you talk to somebody about struggling as a mother in any way, shape or form, that your baby is going to be taken away from you. And this is a very, very real fear for a lot of parents, mothers especially, that admitting what people think is a sign of vulnerability or weakness or failure means that actually you're not fit to be a mum. And actually it's exactly what makes you fit to be a mum, that recognising that you need more support, recognising that you want to do a better job for your baby than you're able to do if you don't receive more support is really, really important. It's actually a really good sign. So it's really unfortunate that people feel that means that they can't access support, and it's something that stops them from accessing support. So I would say, if you're worried about getting support or would like some support, and are worried about what other people will think of you, healthcare professionals especially, then I would say that healthcare professionals are there to support you to look after your baby. They're not there to take your baby away, because actually they know that one of the best things for your baby is to be supported to stay with you. There might be many other motherhood myths that you will encounter. These are some of the biggies that mothers have talked to me about. If there are others that you would like to add to this, then I'd really appreciate your comments. Okay, take care. Bye.